Hi everyone. Today I thought I would just hop on and just share a few of my thoughts while I'm busy preparing the other work on the Nietzschean influence and the showmanship. And I know I've mentioned it before, but I'd like to just share with you a few of my thoughts as we have been progressing through the system. I would say that we are transversing through the system as it is revealing itself in many, many ways. And what I've come across has been quite enlightening, to say the least. And the information that was shown to me has displayed in its essence that we are essentially looking at two creations that are at war with one another. And I tried to find where I could put this particular information in, whether I should have put it in with the next body of work, or whether I should work purely with what I felt I had come to mind, and maybe just touch briefly on it so that you have an idea of what I will be discussing. But I'm not going to give too much information on the other work. It will be based on adept initiate level awareness, and so I'll leave it there. So two creations are at war with one another. That's very interesting. I was shown that, I suppose the noise in the background really explains it all by itself. That it was definitely a boom crash. So what I want to say is this: the first creation was a creation that was founded or made to explain that a being that was created once upon a time was either male and female. They did not have any names. And when man and woman was created, or male and female was created, it did not represent the physical masculine or feminine physical features either. What it initially was a life form that only had a living soul. Okay. That first creation, with the first living soul only, is what is at war with us. We are in the second creation. Some of us, many of us, are born in the second creation. And the second creation says that you have a you have a living soul and a life-giving spirit. And this is beyond any religion or any beliefs in any particular way. This is just to give you a very clear explanation of what it is that we're dealing with. So we've got us fighting a former creation that once existed. This is not based on any particular thesis or theology at all. This is just what was shown to me that I'd like to share with you to explain what we're dealing with. This is why it's so hard to fight that particular entity or that being that comes from the first creation. We can also say this, that they had their God turn its back on them, which was also shown to me because of the fact that they could not create or reproduce. This is not Anunnaki. This has got nothing to do with that stuff, with those things from back then. This is all relevant to what we're dealing with right now. So first creation, let me reiterate again, the first creation is to do with a being that has a living soul. If you have only a living soul, you do not have the capacity to create because you are not connected to your spirit. You don't have your spirit intact, or you don't have the bridge within your consciousness to connect with the spirit. Therefore, you are just alive, you function, and perhaps they form part of a first view on the original creation itself. Let me not digress. The second creation has a living soul plus a spirit, which is life-giving, which means you have creation. So we have creation versus non-creation, or creation versus the inability to create as the war in itself. Beyond the physical material realities of all of the little players and the pawns and the chess match that we're seeing every day and that we're experiencing every day, I'm referring to looking a little bit deeper at the whole picture, seeing everything for what it is, and to become objective when you're viewing this. So then this being then explained to me that the first creation chose to and could only show their ability to exist by ritualizing sacrifices, and that they could only get in touch with the moon goddess, or the lunar magic, which is the psyche of the soul. Anything that is feminine is referenced to the soul, or that which receives information. Remember, as I explained before, you are automatically allowing yourself to receive the information. You then therefore represent a feminine principle. It is not a physical reference. If the one that is speaking to you is giving information that is very good for you to absorb, to take in, and to go towards and to work with, then that energy is emitting a masculine principle, which is based on an old way of looking at how we create. You have to have the substrate, or the earth, to receive the seed to be planted in, and it is a masculine and feminine action, which is spiritual as well as metaphysical. It does not reference to what you are in a physical form at all. The seed that comes out of that, which is the fruit, is then the child, or the child principle, which is the understanding of what you hear and is what you do. It is your offspring. Okay. So coming back to the first creation, which was flawed initially. It reminds me of that movie with, I think it was a slew of movies, Aliens, I think the last one, which was the Covenant, I can't remember. But they had created a bunch of clones before they actually had the fully formed version of the progenitor in the movie. And those clones initially were all alive, and they were still functioning as if they were part of that progenitor's psyche. So we need to understand that we are looking at something like that. The first creation was based on something that is alive but could not give life. It functioned as a being that is also referenced to Cain, who also killed Abel, which is the second generation. Cain is the first generation, Abel is the second generation. Abel was the youngest in relation to how old Cain was. So we are dealing with, let's say, Cain. And this is again also not going towards the full extent of explaining who and what Cain was and all the malevolent things that are attached to it, etc., etc., etc. Yet the interesting thing is, I've heard that, I've referenced and read that Tracy Twyman had an actual experience with Cain, and Cain had explained that he was the first one, or the first son, which could also be referenced as the first son, or the first son, as in son, man. So we are dealing with that. What is happening in this reality right now in terms of the physical manifestation of their psychology, in reference to creating pressure to push the agenda of the restructuring of the Garden of Eden by talking a lot of things to you to make you feel confused, to make you feel sick, to make you feel reactive to stuff, forcing you to take something that is not for the goodness of your soul, of your health, of your spirit. I do want to add this part in. If you do take that particular thing, if you take that element, that injection, when you take it, it actually breaks down the moment it goes into your consciousness. Your body carries your consciousness. Now, I am speaking from what I've seen. Okay, so I see that what happens is this device, this technology, yeah, I'll call it technology because that's what it is. This technology essentially, when injected, breaks down the consciousness connection to the spirit. If you've taken it and you were afraid before the time, you still have time to go back to reconnecting to the consciousness, or the bridge from the soul to the spirit. If you have not if you don't, and you still go ahead, then you're probably not going to be on my channel either. Because I have the sense that most of us are all aware of these things too. So what I want to say to you is this. If you are an embodiment, only you will know whether you are an embodiment of the first creation or the second creation. This technology is designed to essentially target the second creation people, the second creation beings, so that you will lose the connection to your spirit. You cannot do anything if you are not in touch with your spirit. And when I say you must become in touch with your spirit, I'm saying you must become aware that you have a soul, which is the interface or the interaction to this world, which is the anima mundi in Latin. It explains it so much better. And you have a heart of understanding. Your heart is here. This is also your stomach. And this is also your third eye, or your pineal gland, your insight, that then goes into you. And that higher voice that's speaking in the background, sometimes it feels like it's driving you crazy. Not that one. The one that speaks reason to you. That is your spirit voice. That is you. That is your essence. That is infinite. Go back into there. You should then be able to work on trying to re-cement the bridge or rebuild the bridge again, if you've taken it and you were not aware. This is not about judging you whether you've taken it or not. I'm concerned for your spirit, for what I'm sharing with you, and trying to remind you of who you are, just as I am reminding myself of who I am. So my voice is closer to my ears, so I hear the sound of my voice first before you hear it. So I will always speak as if from the perspective of with alongside you. So I'm leaving this with you. Think about the two creations. Find out where you are in that. And if you were a part of the first creation, you know what? Then there's chance to change. There is chance to bring forward information. There is chance. You can find ways to understand where you go. You can find ways to heal. You don't have to, just because if your father was a psychopath and a serial killer, to choose to become the same. You don't have to do that at all. You can truly change your own life path for yourself. Once we become aware of our own internal sovereignty, our own internal infinite creation, infinite potential, once we are aware of this, and literally when I say when you are aware of it, you tell yourself, you feel it, and you connect with that idea, that feeling, that awareness, then the way you perceive the planet, the plane, or the planchette, is what this planet looks like to me, with a lot of beings talking through a lot of people the message. Then I'm saying to you, you are able then to shift the energy as it is in this reality. Remember, everything that is happening right now is all based on material, matter. And as I've always said, the spirit swings the bat. Quote me on that, please. Because the matter cannot be shaped without the awareness of the spirit. You cannot create unless you're aware of your spirit, your higher self, your heart. The voice that spoke through the blood when Abel was killed. The blood spoke loudly. So, I'm leaving that with you. Just wanted to share with you my thoughts and what was shown to me. And much love until next time. Bye.